DigiMarCon Texpo in LA, and I'm here to talk with Keith from ones.com.
Hey.
Keith, how are you doing today?
Good. How
Good.
about you?
Doing great. Good, doing great. So I'd love for you to give a little bio on your company and tell us about what you guys are doing.
Yeah. So I work for this company called ones.com. As I kind of mentioned earlier, so we started off in the APAC region, Asia Pacific. We have like 600 employees over there, over 1,000 different enterprise businesses we work with.
Mm-hmm.
And we do project management software, but specifically for software development teams. So we noticed that there's like a huge demand for project management software. As you know, in the US, there's like 70 different tools. But when it comes to software development, there's only been one player for a really long time, and that's Jira. But it's kind of legacy and it's had a foothold for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
So their product isn't really growing and transforming the way that the consumers need it to be, effective, efficient, not have a million tabs open.
Mm-hmm.
So Ones basically does like all of what Jira does, but we also created a collaborative aspect of it. So you can have something called a wiki page on top of your project management boards and be able to collaborate in real time about what's going on within the company.
Wow. So would you say that collaboration is the large driver in the company as far as differentiating?
Yeah, it's pretty huge. So there's like 3 products in one. As I said, one's product, similar Kanban boards as you're familiar with, or different project timelines. But then the wiki is really like the biggest part of it because you can add files, images. Think of it kind of like one place where everyone can work at the same time to generate ideas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So here in LA, how has it been being at Texpo here for you?
It's been cool. Everyone's been really nice. Everyone loves our little cat stickers. So we've been giving them out.
To everyone there.
Yeah, so that's Little Blue. Funny enough, we have like a pet cat, and that's him. And we actually used a bit of like AI Midjourney to kind of generate some of the ideas to set that up.
Nice. So talk to me about that. How are you using that at the company and personally?
Personally, I mean, it's definitely fun just to play around with it, right? Just like generate different ideas. But professionally, it's really helpful for, if you don't want stock images and you want something more unique, I think it's like a huge win there. And it's so cheap.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So what do you feel like is driving your industry right now as far as where it's heading?
What's driving the industry?
Yeah.
I think people want one tool to manage everything, and trying to figure that out is really tough because it gets really expensive and costly having all these different tools in different places. So having something that's simple and really easy to use is going to be the future. And I think things like ChatGPT, being able to use large language models to basically, be able to be more creative and handle some of those mundane tasks like key.
So you mentioned that you were going to be in New York, right?
Yeah, next week. Well, I'm from New York. I'm from Manhattan.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll be doing this conference in 2 weeks.
Wonderful. So you'll be at Texpo again in New York?
Yeah.
Okay. So just talk to me a little bit about what you do at ones.com yourself.
Yeah, so I'm the account executive there. So basically, I'm the first one, and then I have my sales manager, Alex, over there. And we're basically building out the U.S. team right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So anybody that might be hearing this, what are you hoping that they maybe take away or do as it relates to ones.com? Are you looking to expand your team? Are you wanting to get a certain message out there to individuals?
Yeah, we just want people to know that there is a better tool than Jira right now for software development teams. And Ones is like super affordable as well, which is really great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what else should I be asking you about right now?
Well, I think we kind of talked a little bit more about AI, and I think it's super important, especially being at a digital conference, talking about the future of tech in the digital space. There's so much going on, right? It's kind of hard to kind of figure out where do I start learning this stuff.
Yep.
There's ChatGPT, there's Hugging Face, there's Midjourney.
So I haven't heard of Hugging Face. What's that?
So Hugging Face they use a large language model just like ChatGPT by OpenAI, but apparently there's no conditions on it that limit the kind of conversations you can have, which means it's potentially very misleading, full of misinformation.
Right. But you have to go in eyes wide open.
Right.
Right.
But you can be super creative with that, right? Because there's nothing holding you back from exploring different ideas.
Right.
But I think a lot of people are afraid of it because it can do anything, right? It could do malicious things or it could do really cool supportive things.
Right. Are you specifically talking about that tool or all AI? Both,
Well,
right?
definitely
Maybe.
both. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what would you say to somebody that is a little intimidated about AI?
Uh, I like to say AI is like fire. You know, it's very dangerous. It's very powerful, but without it, you know, it really takes a big hit to how we can live our lives effectively. So, you know, fire is able to burn down a house, but it can also produce food, and you know, it allows you to have warm food, which you know you can digest better and get the right kind of nutrients. So it's just about using it responsibly, and I think AI is going to be exactly the same thing.
I love that analogy. Yeah, I think it's interesting. We've been using AI so much, and many people don't realize that what they've been using every single day
Yeah.
and their job includes AI. It's just that now it's becoming more of a buzzword, and
People are now
there's a
like,
big wave that's come in because ChatGPT, I think it was in 5 days they had 1 million users, and in less than 2 months they had 100 million users.
yeah,
It took some of the biggest platforms months and years to reach those benchmarks. So
yeah,
it's the big buzz, but we've been using AI all along. When you're in Google Docs and they tell you what the word is that you're
right.
typing
Like
in
it's all predictive
autocorrect.
analysis, right?
Yeah,
It's making predictions, but it's doing it at a rate that is, it's almost seems like magic, right?
yeah,
It's hard to really grasp.
yeah, absolutely.
But AI's been around forever. I mean, it's machine learning, right? It's Instagram. You're scrolling through your feed. Every time you like something, it's predicting what you're gonna like next and tries to put that to the top of your feed. It's not like Instagram back in 2011 when it was just based on what was most recently posted was pushed to the top of your feed. Now,
Right.
you know, they're trying to
They're
like keep your
customizing it
attention.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But the difference is you don't really have control over that algorithm. With something like ChatGPT, you're in the driver's seat, and you can kind of control what that outcome may look like, and you have some transparency around it if you understand a bit more about where the large language model is coming from. And ChatGPT tries, I guess, to use everything's backed by research.
Mhm.
But the new thing is now you can do a browser plugin where it's connected to the internet and it's just pulling data from everywhere, which
Right.
you just now need to be in a place where you question everything. And people
Yeah.
have to stop being so maybe gullible to
Yeah.
what's in front of you, ask more questions, be more critical.
Yeah, which is interesting because it's catch-22, right? Because the more AI that you lean on and support, the less you're strengthening those critical thinking muscles that you have. So I was actually just thinking about this morning that we're leaning into utilizing AI to do all the thinking for us, and our brains are muscles, and when you exercise those muscles, they get stronger, and when you don't, they get weaker, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be even more important to be pushing those critical thinking skills and that thought as far as like really looking at that technology. I love your fire analogy. One of the analogies I talk about is like ChatGPT is kind of like a vehicle, right? I feel like I could give my car to my son and he could get behind it and he could probably reach the gas pedals and the brakes and he could drive that vehicle, but he's going to drive it straight into somebody's house because he doesn't have the expertise, the ability to get to the place that he needs to get safely. And it's the same thing where ChatGPT actually just enhances and enables an expert in their field to get the job done better at this moment. So a content marketer can 10x their output and their quality, but they need that expertise and that training and that knowledge, to actually do that. I've been thinking about that a lot, because you have to understand SEO, you have to understand all the dynamics and the foundation of whatever your field is.
Yeah.
My husband is an environmental engineer, and you can use it for anything. You can use ChatGPT for any area of expertise, but you need your area of expertise. Like I tried to write
100%.
an article for him, and when I wrote that article, it took him looking at it with the understanding of permitting and everything about his field to say, oh, this is a great article, but you actually swapped the federal and the state level information, and it was the completely wrong output.
Wow.
And all I had to do was go in and tell ChatGPT, we did this wrong, and within 5 minutes, but it took his expertise, right?
But you still need to have analytical skills. And
Yeah.
I think that's like the most important thing. And I know we're getting to a place with technology, you need to know how to use it. Like a car, right? You need to have a license to drive a car. You need to understand how to use it. Of course, I think we get in a car, push the pedal, and understand where it goes, but you really need to understand how it works, right? On a very in-depth level. If you really want to have full control over it. I think we're going to see a lot of people though think they have control over AI and are just taking it, for what they're reading and not being analytical about it.
Yeah.
Which is very dangerous, and that's where education needs to get involved. New York City banned ChatGPT. Lots of public schools ban ChatGPT, but
Italy, I believe Italy or Germany. One of
I
the
think
two.
some countries are banning
One's
certain
closed
technology
one
because
day.
they want to have control over how that affects their economy, right? From a business perspective, if you have an island, I have an island, right? And we both have phones that we're trying to sell on that island. I don't really want you coming on there because I want my country to make money, right? My island to make money. And I think we're noticing with things like TikTok and other companies, like people are starting to get worried about survival of the fittest, being able to survive on their economic level. And we're in a place on an international scale where everyone's facing challenges, right? And we're all facing them at the same time. So I think we're at a very pivotal point in society where we really need to work together and think collaboratively more so than ever.
Completely agree with that. So as far as at ones.com, how I love, where you're on the forefront of this. So how is that being applied at ones.com? As far as the AI and, working together and where, tech is heading, how would you say?
It's really unique. It's super cool, actually. So ones.com originally started in our HQ's in Singapore, and they blew up in China. They exploded. They got really popular. And then they wanted to expand. They wanted to expand to other places like Tokyo, London, the US. But with certain laws and regulations, they had to, if they want to expand, they would have to actually create a brand new product because you can't expand what's a product in China to a different place. Kind of like how ByteDance and TikTok had to create a separate company and start all over. So we're basically doing the same thing. But the huge advantage is that ones.com has the opportunity to do things they couldn't do in China, like AI. So they have certain regulations that they're not allowed to practice with, but here in the US, it's on our roadmap to start implementing generative AI and start having that conversation.
That's exciting.
The platform.
Yeah.
Stuff, and it's on the roadmap within the next 6 to 12 months. So.
Nice. So if anybody's listening and they want to get in contact with you, how should they do it?
Yeah, my LinkedIn's Keith R.Andrade. You can message me on Twitter. LinkedIn's probably the best place. Or you just go to ones.com and just fill out on the top right, click start trial. I'll give you a call.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else you want to tell everyone?
Pay very close attention to AI. You're going to see it everywhere. And I think if there's one thing I can say that's super valuable for everyone to know is that you really need to start thinking a bit critically and asking why more frequently.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it was really great. Thanks.
Have a great day.